John, you know Sean very well. Obviously, we know what he's all about, and you know more than most, if not all, what he's all about when it comes to how he coaches these guys up front and what type of concepts and schemes work when he has his hands involved in an offense. So, based on what we've seen through 6 games, what might we see this week that looks different?
Well, let's just go back to it here. Obviously, Lonnie Teasley, great guy. Love him to death, great guy. But clearly things just weren't clicking, from uh, the way he was coaching the current guys we have to them performing on the field. Just what for whatever reason, it's just not working. So sometimes it's tough to make a change, and I think this is probably one that I kind of saw coming. Sean just brings a different element. He's a different style of coach. So, first of all, let's hope that what Sean does translates to what we need on the offensive line up front. You know, I'll go back to it. Sean, some of the best offensive lines we've had in the past 20 years since I've been gone have been under Sean Elliott. So hopefully his coaching style and the way he teaches things resonates to these players. And sometimes it just doesn't. I'll be honest with you. My coach in my first 4 years at South Carolina resonated more with me as a player than the one I had my senior year. I mean, sometimes it's just the way it goes. And but we need to see more out of this offensive line. The false starts, yeah, that's just so hard to watch. We crossed over. We were on LSU's side of the 50-yard line 6 times last weekend, and we scored 10 points.
Right.
And a lot of that was penalties, false starts from the offensive line that killed those drives. And that's just something you cannot have, especially on the road. You just can't have it.
The touchdown was actually from their own Carolina's 28.
I know that's what I'm
crazy.
getting at.
That makes it even more crazy in my opinion.
3 points, their side of the 50. So great point, JC. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, 3 points. Yeah, that was
frustrating. And then he didn't get. He got how many carries the rest of the game? Faison.
Well, I will say this. When I went back and watched it.
Yeah,
we were later into the second quarter, and we were running 2-minute ball, and Beamer has said, Oscar is our best blocking running back and our best pass catcher out of the backfield. So I understand why, in that second quarter, because I know we had some texts flying and we were just like, why is it Fuller in? But I get it. We were in 2-minute offense, both those 2 drives in the end of the second quarter. So I understand why Fuller wasn't in. But yeah, you would have liked to see him get a little more of the second half. But I will say, Rasul was running really good too. So
yep.
Yeah, he had his best game. I thought best game.
Yeah, I
agree. I thought he looked really good, and those guys up front looked really good. Honestly, when he was getting the rock. All right, let me get Michael in here on this, guys, too, and then y'all can go back and forth with this. But John, obviously, you brought up the main point, the most critical point, I think, for South Carolina football throughout the season, but obviously going into this game, which is that don't shoot yourselves in the foot. The penalties and the things that continue to put you behind the 8 ball. Mike, the Oklahoma defense, and remember, they have played Michigan, they have played Auburn, they have played Texas, so there are some big-time opponents on there in addition to the Kent States and the Illinois States of the world or whoever they've played. But they are first in the country in tackles for loss per game. Their defense is 10.3, which means if they're first in the country, for you Clemson fans, that also means you would be first in the SEC. If Carolina is doing the things that they have done, which is take yards away from themselves, it's going to be a long, long day, right? Like, I think we need to expect that Oklahoma is going to get into the backfield, and they're going to have plays that equate to negative yardage for South Carolina's offense, right? So the penalties aside, we mentioned earlier the quick game. It just hasn't been there consistently enough. Mike, you're a big quick game guy, especially when you struggle to move the ball, and Carolina struggled to throw the football the last couple of weeks. What would you change knowing those numbers?
I mean, I think you look at this, and at the end of the day, with the exception of the Vanderbilt game, but I think if you look at it, we've had opportunities throughout the course of these games to win at the end. We've been in it, and we've had chances at the end of the game to win with all the mistakes and the penalties and all of this that's gone wrong. We're there. Just as close to being 5-1 as 3-3. And I think it just goes to show, what this team is all about and the fight that this team has across the board. Like Strick said with the offensive line, I think I'm curious, as you talk about the Oklahoma defense, I'm curious to see what type of changes may be made schematically, but also fundamentally, with how these guys come out, and the changes that we may see and how aggressive these guys are, or, how we choose to block certain fronts. I'm interested to see that. And I think, I love Coach Elliott's style, how intense he is. I think that's kind of what you need on the offensive line is you need that guy that's got some fire in his tail that's going to bring it. But a quick game, like we always said, is an extension of the run. I would love to see that. I think we need to be able to get Lenoris comfortable. I think, everybody is held accountable at this phase with some of the errors. I know, we've had some guys running open downfield, and Lenoris has missed it, but it's tough when you're consistently under pressure to keep your eyes downfield. Like I've said before, to feel the pressure and not see the pressure and feel like you're consistently running for your life back there. So I think a lot of it is getting Lenoris comfortable, whether it be outside the pocket, quick game, however that is, but getting him in a place to where he's feeling the pressure, not seeing the pressure, and however that is, quick game, like I said, quick game, getting him outside the pocket. But I think that's is going to be one of the most important things is Lenoris getting comfortable back there to see the field and be able to see those open guys running downfield, because there are some guys running open downfield. I think Coach Shula's done a good job of dialing up plays. It's just giving Lenoris the time to be able to execute there. The running game is starting to get going, and I think that's been huge for us in getting the running backs comfortable and that rotation with Fuller in there and kind of getting those guys the ball and getting those touches. So it's just, I think it's going to come down to Lenoris being comfortable back there and really just feeling the pressure, not seeing it. And I love the fact of utilizing him in the run game. I think is going to be key in that as well, and trying to neutralize a little bit of that pressure.
Hey, John, you mentioned a minute ago talking about Oscar Attaway, who we all love. We all love Oscar Attaway. You mentioned, the fact that he mostly throughout the season has been kind of the best guy at that position to be able to hold up on a block if Carolina's trying to move the football. It's pretty well documented. Shane Beamer did it earlier this week. Perry was talking about it the other day, referencing Urban Meyer a few years ago, talking about, hey, there's really no rhyme or reason to Brent Venables and what he does on defense. It's pretty exotic, and you don't ever know when it's going to come. There's a lot on that side of the ball that they do. Lenore Seller said after the game last year, if anybody remembers, yeah, I know we won by 26 points, but those guys are doing some things on defense I've never seen before. So with all of that said, look, there's a guy on this team. If you ask me, all right, put Sean Elliott over here, go find a player that you feel like is a little bit like Sean Elliott. I'd say, well, where's 44? Where's 44? Where's that guy? Where's Mo Brown? They seem to probably get along pretty well, right? He's the type of guy that Sean Elliott would want 100 of. So if Oklahoma is exotic and they are aggressive defensively, especially after what happened last week, smelling blood in the water, let's go get him type thing, do you think that you would see, regardless of how well Faison and Fuller have run, do you think that we'll see more Attaway because of that? Do you think we'll see more 44 Mo Brown in there and be able to utilize some things he does well?
Well, I still think we're going to try and run our game plan, and you want to put the guys out there you feel the most comfortable with. But, I know we're just hitting on quick game and some, we were all talking during the game last week, and as much pressure as they were getting on us, what was I screaming? I was like, let's run some more screens. And,
yeah.
Flint was saying, yeah, let's throw quick game. I mean, you got to do something to combat that pressure. So one, having the best running back in there to block, that's great. But I don't think that's all there is to it. I think we got to scheme up a few different things. LSU was just bringing pressure like crazy, and all I was yelling was, we need to throw some screens in here to lighten, to keep them off balance, because they were just bringing the house on us. And but yeah, I mean, I don't know that you'll see any more of Oscar just because of what they're doing.
Okay.
But I think on the third downs though, you're going to see Oscar in the game more. I mean, here's the thing with running back. We can all sit here and the naked eye and just be like, man, this guy is the best runner we have at running back. Well, the thing is, you have to be an all around back. You can't just be the best runner. You got to be pass catcher. You got to be able to block. And blocking is the most important thing. I mean, any coach will tell you, is like,
Yep.
hey, if a guy is the best blocker, he's the one that's going to get the playing time, even though this guy over here is maybe our best runner. Well, it doesn't matter. If you can't block, then you're no good to the team, because you have to be able to do it all.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, I think at the end of the day, with the exotic looks that Oklahoma does bring, is, don't try to really outsmart yourself. Like, it's continue to do what you do. But I think you just figure out a way to get your athletes the ball in space.
Yeah.
And let our athletes be better athletes than theirs. I think we got some of the best athletes in the SEC. We're young on the perimeter, but you look at a guy like Brian Rowe, who's come in and done what he's done, and over Mazeo Bennett, who had played extremely well last year. We got phenomenal athletes. It's being able to figure out how to get those guys the ball in space and let them do their thing. And I think you see, I mean, getting Nick Harbor the ball on the run and is likely to go to the house or for a very large game. So that's, I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Harbor, because I was literally looking at his stats right now. I've got him circled on the sheet here. It's been concerning to me, the fact that he comes out of the gates and does what he does, and it's like, okay, everybody figured out, well, we probably need to cover him this year. Maybe he's the guy for South Carolina. And then you look in the last 3 games that they've played, Missouri, Kentucky, and LSU, the SEC, teams that are going to scheme you up in the SEC, and 6 total catches for 91 yards, no touchdowns. I mean, he's been kind of a non-factor. He's had a couple of nice plays on third downs. But what you just said, I mentioned it yesterday, but you say it better than I do because you're the football guy. Like, I think people misunderstand. Mike Morgan misunderstood what I was saying yesterday, and I love Mike. I'm not referencing dropping back and just letting Sellers heave it downfield for 60 yards and just go up and get it, Nick.
Yeah.
That's not, you said put the ball in space. Like, you could go quick game and get the ball to the track star in space somewhere in the middle of the field and let him do the rest of the work. Like, that play exists in the sport of football, I thought, and they just haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, and I think not being able to run the football well at all has really hurt.
It's been good the past 2 weeks, though.
Yeah, yes. And when you're able to run the ball and have some success, it opens up different things in the passing game. When you're not able to run the ball well and you throwing in obvious passing situations, it doesn't help either with the amount of guys that are dropped back in coverage. So having success running the football, it helps. It helps with them having to put more guys in the box, which opens up, some of these throwing lanes and some of these windows in the passing game. So it's, I'm very curious to see kind of how we kind of utilize that with Sean Elliott being the offensive line coach, what we do schematically, and then, how we're looking with the run game and the pass game and using the run to kind of open up the pass. And I think that's what we've been trying to do. And just being able what we do to get these guys the ball, man. I think it's the end of the day, we've got to be able to get those guys the ball in space and let them go to work, because, what we've done, we're struggling. So it's going to be interesting.
I want to see shotgun. I want to see the quarterback catch the ball, fake the handoff, and then immediately throw a quick slant.
That's
That
what
was my favorite. That was my favorite play when I played. Like, I mean, it's almost always there. It's almost always there.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, John.
Play
That's
action.
exactly what I'm talking about. Well, JC, there you go. Right, like that's something that
wasted game Saturday night because you're running the ball well. Surprisingly enough, you're catching them in some things. Play action, right?
Hey, historically, Shula likes play action. How does that fit with the concepts and schemes that Sean Elliott likes to do in the run game? I think that meshes well if they put it together.
I'll say this too. It makes the penalties and stuff like that really threw Carolina off the other night as well. I mean, you're down at the 28 and Boaz Stanley false start and then intentional grounding, and all of a sudden it's 3rd and 28 or whatever, and you get sacked. I mean, I play action, man. And there's people out there that keep up with stats like advanced metrics and stuff, and I never know how accurate they are, but Lenore Sellers running play action passes is something sick, like crazy effective. Like that's when the scouts look at it, and that's his game, you know. And, I spent a lot of time complaining about the NFL, but the NFL is a play action heavy league, right? On Sundays, don't y'all see that a lot? A lot of play action, right? I don't understand what the hell they're doing with that. I mean, I don't get it. And there's issues with this offense, but the lack of a rhyme or reason to like what they're doing. Somebody in the chat box asked, every team in the country has some bread and butter plays. What are Carolina's? I have no idea. I have no idea.
I do.
Yeah,
I know what it is. It's give the ball to the center, and let him false start.